Hi, Miss Maddie. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for doing this. So I have a couple questions to ask you, and then that will conclude our time together just to hear about your teaching philosophy and why you became a teacher. Does that sound okay?
Yep.
Okay. So first, we'll just do what's your name and how long have you been teaching?
My name's Maddie. The kids call me Miss Maddie, and I've been in elementary school for 2 years.
Okay. Is it public or private?
A public school.
Okay. What is your background and what was it like growing up? Like, were you always around kids or?
Yeah, I went to undergrad at UNC Chapel Hill, and then I did my grad program at ECU. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry. And then what was I? Oh, I went to grad school at ECU, and then became a speech therapist, and here I am.
And why did you choose speech therapy teaching? What motivated you to become a teacher?
I wanted to work with children, um, but I wanted to work with few children at one time, and just communication disorders really interested me. And I went to speech therapy when I was a kid.
How old were you when you went through that?
I was like 7 to 11.
Oh, okay, wow. So when you're with your kids, how many kids are you with at one time?
The most right now in one of my groups is like four.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really nice.
yeah.
Okay. What would you say your teaching philosophy is?
Um, I would say I try to do really individualized treatment. Sorry, my dog. Um, and just every kid is different, and just individualized goals and
Yeah,
IEP meetings and things like that.
yeah, I like that a lot. Um, what is your class routine or recipe for a successful class or session and why?
So all my sessions are a little different because you either push in or pull out. If I pull out, then we have sometimes it's like a smart board game, just different games and activities to target their goals. The best activities I would say are one activity, but you can target like four different goals, and then the child just thinks you're having fun with them, but you're actually doing therapy. So those are always really successful.
So what do you mean by pull in?
So if I pull out, then I go and take the kids from the classroom and bring them to my office. If I push in, then I go sit with the child in their class and we do whatever the class is doing, but with speech therapy added.
Which one do you prefer?
It depends on the child sometimes, and a lot of times I do both with a child. Like if I see them Tuesday, Thursday, I'll push in Tuesday and pull out Thursday. But like with my SDA kiddos, which is um, they're really medically complex, they're really fun to push in with like an adapted PE program. Like it's really fun to push in and see how they communicate in PE with their peers. So it just depends.
Okay. Um, what type of assessments do you use and why? I know you said stuff about using a whiteboard, but
Yeah. So for assessments, I mean, so with speech therapy, they're all standardized assessments. For articulation, my go-to is called the Goldman-Bristow, but they're all just like standardized evaluations that you give. So I have like the Goldman-Bristow, I have the self if I'm doing a language kiddo. Um, of course, we have all the parent like intake forms and everything like that too.
do you have a favorite one or no?
For Arctic, my go-to is Goldman Bristow. For language, the Self 5 is the best. If I'm working with a preschooler, I like the PLS 5. But these are all just like speech assessments.
Right. Okay. In your experience as a teacher, what is the best advice you could give to a new teacher?
I would say in the beginning, it is. I mean, it's always going to be a lot of work, but in the beginning, for me, it was a lot to get like all my materials ready, like finalize your schedule, because I'm seeing, kids from kindergarten, fifth grade. So there's just like a lot of legwork to get started, but like if you stick with it, and once you get all your materials laminated and all your board games and everything set up, then you're good to go. It's just a lot of work in the beginning.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
um, okay. In your experience as a teacher, what was or is the most rewarding event or thing that has happened to you?
I love working with my SDA kids. So those are the medically complex kids, and a lot of them are nonverbal, or they'll use like a AAC device. And when they like finally understand like the combining icons to make a sentence, it's like a really big. It's really rewarding when that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What teacher or person do you say you look up to the most?
There's this girl or this lady in the speech world, but I haven't read her research in a while. But she does like Kaufman cards, so she works with apraxia, and she just got, so apraxia is a motor speech disorder, and she just developed this whole like program on how to treat that. And
Oh, wow.
she's real smart. Her name's Kaufman, that's why it's called Kaufman cards. But
okay.
Yeah.
Does she write novels or?
No, she developed like the whole Kaufman protocol, and then there's like a lot of research articles that she does, but I haven't read them in a while.
What's her first name?
I honestly don't know. Oh. Everyone just calls her Kaufman.
Okay. And then my last question I have is, how do you teach to include and not exclude?
So that really when I push in. So you kind of are excluding if I'm going to work with like an articulation kid and I have to pull them out of class and it's just me and the kid. But sometimes that's how to best benefit them and get them to reach their goals. But whenever I can, like I was talking about the PE and stuff, I would prefer to push in, and then you can use peers as, it doesn't have to just be me and the kid. You can use peers, you can use teachers, TAs. The other day I had this super awesome kid, but she has an AAC device, and we like put her in her walker and everything, and she went all the way to the library, returned a book for the teacher, and came all the way back and like communicated the whole way, and it was super fun. So that's just like a normal thing that like a typical, neurotypical kid would be able to do, but like that was a big deal for her that she could do it by herself.
Was that another like rewarding moment then?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you see the same kids every week, or how often do you switch out?
My caseload's like around 40, I would say. That varies, but you get referrals all year though. So like I just like eval a preschool kiddo, even though it's March, and IEPs go for 1 full year. So it's not like I eval everyone in August and just see them till May. They're kind of on their own timeline, but my caseload pretty much maxes out around 40. And then I make my own schedule. So whatever works for the kids and their schedule.
Yeah. And then my last question I have is, when you are working with a kid, like, do you ever have 3 or 4 at one time, or is it always just one? Which do you like better?
If you can work the schedule and you can group your kids well, I do like groups. It's more leg work on my part because I'm treating 4 different disorders at the same time. If you have a good group, it can be really successful, but scheduling kind of gets in the way. So like if I have an articulation kiddo with a stuttering kiddo with a language kiddo, like it just gets too crazy. But if like my stutter group, like that works really well. So it just depends.
Do you ever get like an assistant to help if it's too many kids, or?
No. So we don't have any SLPAs or anything. It's just me. Of course, like when I was a grad student, like, I was an intern and I had my supervisor, so we would both treat. But not where I work. We don't have any assistants or anything like that. But I control my own schedule. So like if I put 4 kids together, that's my fault. If I can find time to separate them, then that's what I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's all I have for you. I appreciate you doing this on such short notice, but we'll definitely keep in touch, and I'll be hearing more from you. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
You too.